This one has cost more actors more opportunities than almost any other myth on the list. You should never self-tape unless you can make it look completely professional. Really? And we believe that. Here's what I see happening right now. Reddit threads, Facebook groups, acting forums, people are tying themselves in knots over self-tape setups, and it splits into two camps, right? Camp one spends money they don't have on gear they don't need. Backdrops, lav bikes, a camera that costs more than their first car. Some of them have genuinely nice setups now, and some of them are still broke and also still not submitting because the new mic hasn't arrived yet. Camp two just doesn't submit at all. The setup isn't right yet. The lighting is weird. The background isn't neutral enough. They're going to sort it out and then start sending tapes. Meanwhile, the deadline passes. The opportunity goes to someone whose tape was shot on a phone in a bathroom. And I'm not making that up, right? Because, by the way, the acoustics are actually pretty decent in a lot of bathrooms. So if you're on the road and have a blank wall, that may be the play. Anyways, both camps are making the same mistake. They've decided that the quality of the window matters more than what's visible through it. So let me tell you about a job I booked. I filmed the self-tape in my backyard. Overcast day, my wife was holding the camera. It was on a gimbal, but still, so it was relatively stable. But she was moving with me, not a tripod, not a studio, a backyard, right? There were trees outside, noises in the audio, birds, wind, probably a neighbor's lawnmower at some point. I mean, it basically broke every rule you've ever read about self-tape setup. I booked it. Because here's the thing. Casting wasn't watching my tape thinking, his background is a fence and some trees. Pass. They were watching the performance. They were watching whether I could handle the material, whether they could imagine me in the role. And the tape was good enough for them to see. Good enough. Not perfect. Good enough. Now, I need to be honest with you. Good enough is not anything goes. Right? There is a minimum bar. And let me tell you what it is, because it's a lot lower than most people think. But it does exist, and they have to be able to see you clearly, your face, your eyes. That's where the performance lives. You need light coming from in front of you, not behind you. Natural light from a window works, a basic LED panel works. What doesn't work is backlighting yourself into a silhouette or shooting with half your face in shadow. And my personal opinion, absolutely do not use a ring light. I know they're cheap and everyone recommends them, but they create that distinctive ring reflection in your eyes that screams amateur YouTube setup. A window, a lamp, as far as I'm concerned, anything but the ring light, okay? Your mileage may vary. But anyways, they have to be able to hear you clearly, and this is the number one tape killer. If casting has to strain to understand what you're saying, they're clicking to the next person. A noisy room, a refrigerator hum, traffic from an open window, any of that will end your tape faster than a slightly messy background ever will. Get yourself in a quiet room. A $10 foam door seal will do more for your tape than a $500 camera. Oh, and the camera needs to be stable enough that it's not distracting. Tripod, stack of books, your wife with a gimbal, whatever works. I mean, that's it. That's the actual bar. Can they see you, hear you, and watch without getting seasick? You're in. Your camera, a modern smartphone, is more than good enough. If your phone is less than 5 or 6 years old, the image quality is there. You don't need a dedicated camera. Your background, a normal wall works. Clear the clutter so it's not distracting. And you're fine. You don't need a seamless backdrop from Amazon, although if you want one, they're pretty cheap these days. Optional, not required. Professional editing, a straight cut from slate to scene to end. You're submitting an audition, not entering a film festival. What people either don't realize or forget is everyone on the other end of this process knows you're an actor, not a producer. They know you're probably doing this in a spare bedroom or a backyard or a bathroom with decent acoustics. Nobody is expecting a professionally produced and edited submission. They're expecting to see a person who can act. Now, I want to name something I think is actually driving a lot of this because it's worth being honest about. The gear anxiety isn't really about gear. It's about fear of rejection, wearing practical clothing. If the tape doesn't go out, it can't be rejected. And if it does go out and gets rejected, blaming the setup is more comfortable than wondering whether the performance was the problem. The gear gives you something to fix that doesn't require you to look at the actual work. And I understand that impulse. I've caught myself doing it. I'll be ready when I get this one thing sorted out. And meanwhile, the opportunity moved on. The casting director doesn't know what your apartment looks like. They don't care. They want to find their person. That person might be you, but they can only find out if you send the tape. So here's the whole thing in 5 points, okay? Quiet room, light on your face, stable camera, clear background, sound check. If you've got those 5, you are all ready to submit. Not ready pending better equipment, ready. A tape that never gets sent has a 100% rejection rate. The perfect setup you're waiting to afford is not what's standing in between you and that callback. Your submission is. Stop waiting for perfect. Good enough books. Hey, you want Start Where You Are for free? The link's in the description. New myths every week. See you in the next one.